Good Sunday morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing. This is meteorologist Basil Numerzycki. Looking at our fire potential impacts, we have quite a few. We'll start from the south, working our way northwards. Today and Monday, lightning moving up across Nevada and Utah, wet across southern areas. However, the atmosphere in the low levels does get drier as you head further north, so we do have a concern with dry lightning over some very dry fields as we go into today in this darker shade of red across portions of central and western Nevada. The same areas, and also combining with a new area that extends all the way up to the Oregon and maybe Idaho borders on Monday, which could be a fairly widespread lightning outbreak. Have to watch this very carefully. In addition, further up into Idaho, even though they will miss the lightning, we are concerned about increasing winds with that low pressure area that's dropping down out of the Pacific Northwest. This will most likely cause increasing westerly winds, and some gusts could exceed 40 miles per hour in some areas. So again, we'll be monitoring this. There are many active fires in this region. Looking at precipitation the past 24 hours, very light scatterings of precipitation to the leading edge of some of that moisture. You can see on the right-hand side some of the lightning we had down south, and even some scatterings up the Sierra just outside of and north of Reno. Looking at new fire starts, new fires in the red, we had quite a few, and some of them have grown fairly large across parts of Nevada and even into south central Utah, where fuels have started drying out quite a bit after being moistened up earlier last month. And existing fires are in the yellow circles, and the larger fires are in the yellow open bands. Looking at observed precipitation, on the left we had very light amounts of rainfall. Basically, these first light shades of blue are a few hundredths of an inch to less than a tenth of an inch, so just about no one, except for some localized areas in the Arizona Strip, received any wetting rain in the past 7 days. And even into the past 14 days, again, very light precipitation with the exception of far southwest Utah and into the Arizona Strip, where that first shade of green indicates about a half inch of rainfall. And that dryness has resulted in our fuels drying out. The shades of red and dark red indicate somewhere between the 90th and 96th percentile. The circles in purple that we see scattered about indicate 97th percentile or above, and which in many cases are record level ERCs. So quite dry in those areas. Quite moist across our southern areas, but a lot of these ERCs have been creeping upwards as well. Have to keep an eye on some of those. Looking at our lightning concerns that we will have, it'll be across Nevada, and probably starting with Zone 8, which is right along the western Nevada into this towards the Sierra front. You can see that ERCs are between the 90th and 97th percentile, well above their normals, and stretching all the way eastwards towards the Elko area and to the Ruby Mountains in our Zone 12. You can see ERCs are basically at record dry levels. A look at our satellite imagery and upper level maps shows a massive subtropical moisture gathering now across Arizona and starting to slide into southern Nevada. The way that the upper level winds are set up with this high pressure ridge is this clockwise flow is going to bring this moisture up the Sierra chain and into parts of western Nevada today, probably overspreading a greater portion of that region by tomorrow. Also, we're looking at deep low pressure dropping down out of British Columbia. The tight packing of these yellow height lines indicates increasing winds, and that will also be a concern during the early part of this upcoming week. So looking at the weather pattern on the left-hand side for today, we see a broad area of high pressure and some of that moisture in that green area starting to approach into far southern regions. It's usually in this area between the green and the tan, this blackish area, and especially where we see this little green dot through here is where the moisture is just right for lightning, but not enough moisture for widespread wetting rains. For this reason, we have issued high risk for lightning across parts of central and western Nevada. It lines up with other high risks that are issued from northern California for similar regions. Further south we'll have lightning, but it should be wetter over fuels that are not quite as dry, so we have indicated the lighter yellow shade to indicate our lack of large fire potential further down there. If we look at weather conditions today, this is where the lightning activity is expected in the areas of the green, also pushing up into Idaho, but fuels here are still fairly moist. On the right-hand side are the winds. The little purplish and orange shades you see here are where gusty outflow boundaries will be occurring, and some of these downburst winds from these thunderstorms could be exceeding 40 miles per hour for brief periods of time. And also up north here, sustained winds out of the west, moderate speeds in this olive shade, about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Those winds will be increasing over the next couple of days. As we go into Monday, on the right-hand side, we indicate a threat of both lightning across a good portion of northern Nevada and also wind across a good portion of Idaho. The reason for that, steep low pressure up through here with this tightening height gradient and drier air punching in will be the main factor behind the wind up here in the north. And here across Nevada and southern Utah and the Arizona Strip, you see these areas of green also poking up a bit further north. This indicates deepening moisture, which could result in wetter storms across the south, but also more widespread lightning activity, a mix of wet and dry over some very dry fuels up across much of central and northern Nevada. If we look at what we're expecting weather-wise, on the left-hand side is where showers and thunderstorms shaded in that light green. You can see mainly just south of Idaho, but covering a good portion of Utah and Nevada. On the right-hand side are wind gusts, and you can see where this model is showing these orange to purplish shades. These are winds of 25 to 35 mile-an-hour gusts, quite significant, widespread. The smaller circular shapes you see here, once again, are the model detecting what the outflow winds from the nearby thunderstorms might be for brief periods of time. As we go into Tuesday, we see drier air starting to punch on in. Thunderstorm threat starts to diminish. We'll have some scatterings of it, but it might turn wetter in some areas. We'll see if winds start diminishing just a little bit. On the right-hand side, you see the winds, even though still quite gusty across southern and eastern Idaho, they're starting to diminish. Moderate winds here out of the northwest. These shades of green are anywhere from 15 to 30 miles per hour. On top of areas that have had lightning, we'll see how that plays out. Where you see these smaller bubbles of ripples of wind is where thunderstorm activity will still be ongoing, probably more wet than dry at this point. Precipitation over the next 3 days. Low-end wetting rains across southern areas, some locally heavier rains up the Sierra chain, but by and large, not that much precipitation expected to reach the ground across parts of northern Nevada. And as we go through Wednesday, we see we're starting to dry out. We're kind of in between high pressure and low pressure through here. This green mass of moisture with the thunderstorms shifts out of the region, so we should be drying out a little bit. And that trend should continue, although by Thursday, some of that moisture could rotate back into southern and central Utah and Nevada, probably more on the wetter side at this point. And then looking at Friday, still that threat of some thunderstorms to the south. Drier air punching in across northern areas, and then by Saturday, drier air pushes in, another trough of low pressure coming in. This could start increasing the winds. We'll have to watch that later on, but we should be drying on out in all areas as we head on into next weekend. Precipitation accumulation the next 7 days. You can see where the heaviest rains will be across Utah and parts of southern and central Nevada. Lighter amounts of rain to the north. And our extended outlook shows near to slightly above normal temperatures, but a drier than normal signal, and this takes us into the first week of September. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.